If you are interested in reading this particular article, you can do so at justinstellman.com/A6. Why I kicked Facebook to the curb. About 8 months ago, I'd been thinking about either deleting my personal Facebook page or just choosing not to log in anymore. But either way, I just had enough. I didn't like the surface level conversations on there, along with the people bragging about how their lives were to friends and family. I didn't like the fact that those close friends and family could just emotionally throw up all over you without even talking to you. I just didn't like the general vibe and community on there. People were short with one another and generally looking to push their ideas on people with very little regard to rigorous in-person debate. I found people wanted to simply vent. If you questioned their ideas about something, they got angry. Or if you put something out there that somebody else didn't like, they would just get upset with you. This happened to me one time. We live close to the San Onofre power plant, and when I read a story in our local newspaper about it shutting down, I shared it on Facebook and commented that I was happy about it. But I forgot that a good friend of mine who goes to the same gym as I do is also my friend. The minute he walked in the door that day to the gym, he sought me out and challenged me on it. Even though I defended my opinion and we're still friends, it was awkward, to say the least. I had another experience where I shared a quote by Alan Watts, who is a philosopher and tends to lean towards ideas in Eastern mysticism. Now, this may not seem strange to you, but I went to 2 years of a Christian high school, and many of my friends on Facebook are still very much close-minded and judgmental. It turns out that sharing the Alan Watts quote didn't go over too well with the Christian community. When I got flack for that, it's never my intention to get into Facebook debates. I refuse to spend my valuable time going back and forth trying to convince somebody who will never be convinced of an idea that I had. But it's these types of situations, I'm sure you've had many similar situations as well, that made me decide to just give up on it altogether. For now, I'm deciding to keep my account open. Please don't friend request me there, as I don't check it. If you'd like to see what I'm up to, there's a link at the bottom of this article for that. I am deciding to keep it open until I decide otherwise. What is the value of knowing everything that's going on with your friends, family, or even strangers that you never even met that live on the other side of the planet? Does this not create some kind of internal jealousy? When you see your friend posting pictures of their newborn baby when you can't get pregnant, doesn't that cause you to be upset? Should people be more aware of the things they post? Should they consider the financial struggles of their friends before they post a picture of their brand new house? Before they post anything, should they go through their list of friends and block certain ones from seeing it? Or should everyone have thicker skin? If they block people from seeing it, what if they accidentally post something that people will be offended by? Should people even be offended at all? Now, personally, I'm very aware of my actions and how my words come across. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to someone in person or if I'm posting an image on Facebook. I do my best to consider all angles before I push any content out online or in real life. Awareness is what is going to get us to higher levels of connections and rapport with people. But just because I'm that way, should you be? Should your friends be? To me, all of this is unnecessary drama and stress. If you find that you're a person who is offended easily, it might not be a good idea for you to be friends with inflammatory people on Facebook. I just don't see the value of knowing all the different things that are going on with all my old friends from high school. What value is it for me to know that someone shares a scathing post about some political candidate? How is that benefiting me? If I have the opposite political view of that person, it will cause me to feel stress and almost immediately after reading it. Do I read their political status update? If I read it, do I comment? What if they think I have no idea who I really am and this will make them bummed out on me? Do I still comment knowing that? Or do I just go full bore and really let them have it and shout from the rooftops who I am regardless of how they may take it? What if there's a debate going on that gets initiated from their inflammatory post? Do I join the conversation and let it get heated and start arguing with people I don't even know? I've heard of people not even being able to sleep at night because of Facebook arguments they're engaged in. Is it me, or does it seem like people have all day to argue back and forth on Facebook, jamming their ideas down everybody's throats? Today we live in a world of shallow memes. General platitudes about intensely deep topics isn't going to serve anybody. It's the equivalent of watching Fox News while they're debating something like gun control with 4 guests in a 90-second segment. This is what Facebook fosters. These multi-layered issues are incredibly deep and extremely complex. They require sophisticated, unemotional people who are willing to change their minds based upon new evidence. And Facebook is anything but that. Facebook allows already angry people to vent their anger and frustrations to their friends and family in the form of something as shallow as a status update. Then people argue back and forth, and for what? What good has it ever accomplished from a Facebook debate? Generally, people that spend lots of time engaged in such debates tend to have very little going on in their lives in terms of adding actual value to the world. They spend their time putting down the creative work of other people and are putting out that people are putting out there. I see the same thing going on with YouTube comments. All social media is the same when it comes to all this. These people are so closely aligned to their opinions, there's almost no difference between them and their opinions. In their mind, they are one and the same. I read an article years ago talking about the founding fathers of America. The article was all about the manner in which these people would engage each other in conversation and debate. They would have their differences of opinions, but they would always be respectful, copacetic, and they would always be incredibly cordial. They would spend hours upon hours looking at every angle of the topic. They would consider the ramifications from many different perspectives and take into account the long-term impacts of their decisions. They would weigh all sides out and politely come to a final decision. In the process, they would say things like, quote, "I understand your point, Mr. Johnson. I see that what you're saying here, and you're absolutely correct in saying that my point of view would adversely affect a segment of the population, but have you considered what would happen if such and such a thing were true?" Polite debate centered around open-minded people willing to change their opinions is what we need. We need people who are willing to come at a topic from many different viewpoints, consider unforeseen opinions, and then come to a final conclusion. You see, Facebook just feeds the monkey mind. It feeds the reptilian brain that seeks division and egoic gratification. It feeds our innate desire to prove ourselves right and everybody else wrong. We are the smart ones and everybody else is stupid. It creates a division amongst us at the deepest levels. The powers that be, or were, whoever they are, wants to keep us divided. They want to keep us thinking that we are not all one. They want us to constantly make us feel individualized. The more they can divide the human race into black and white, young and old, rich and poor, man or woman, Democrat, Republican, the more power they will always have over us. Instead of seeking new ways to find out how much we have in common, we constantly seek to make us rugged individualists like the character Howard Rourke or Dagny Taggart from Atlas Shrugged. Now, I love that book, Atlas Shrugged, but we must see it for what it is. We need to find our similarities and focus on those instead of looking for the next person online to disagree with. The comment that broke the camel's back for me. During the time when I wanted to be off Facebook, a comment was made to me that got me really upset with the entire website. A friend of mine posted a link to an article about something that had happened. I hadn't heard of this particular shooting or the person who got shot. I politely said in the comment thread something to the effect of, "Who is that? I've never heard of him." His comment back to me was, and I'll never forget how he worded this, which makes me wonder about the psychological effects of using Facebook. He said something like, quote, "That doesn't speak too well of you, Justin." What? It doesn't speak too well of me that I don't know about some random person who allegedly got shot who lives halfway across the country? How does that not speak well of me? According to his worldview, people should be informed of what's going on in society. And me not being aware of the story, people would think that I'm not smart or informed. He's presuming that I care what people think of me. He's also presuming that I think it's important to be informed. These two presumptions can occur because he doesn't really know me. He thinks he does. But a comment like that would have been best handled via private message. Facebook is like a jail. You sit around, waste time, have a profile picture, write on walls, and get poked by guys who you don't really know. There are so many assumptions going on in this particular situation that it's almost silly. I'm sure you've had similar experiences on Facebook. But the truth is, I don't care what people on Facebook think about me because I know who I am. I know what my life's about. And since I know who I am, what my life's work is, where I'm going, that's all I need. Plus, the opinions of others are theirs, not mine. That was his mistake number 1. I don't care what other people think of me in the slightest. I will never be able to own anybody else's opinion of me, and neither will I be able to change their mind about anything. And since I'm always changing, most likely there will be some new quality about me that develops in the next 6 months that somebody else won't like. You cannot please everyone, so it's a waste of time trying. The other assumption he made was that he thinks I place value on being, quote, informed. You see, people like to put all of their shortcomings, judgments, and idiosyncrasies on top of you. But don't let them do that. If they're afraid of something, they think you're afraid of it also. If they care what other people think, they think you do as well. People don't like to feel alone in their suffering. They need friends to keep them company while they're suffering in their own self-built prisons. Actually, I don't see the value in being informed. The news only gives us information that can sell or go viral. It needs eyeballs. It's going to feed us information that will make them money. Usually this is inflammatory information, polarizing information, or just plain negative information. The human mind feeds off of and absolutely loves negativity. Being informed means I get a steady inflow of negative and depressing stories. Why would I want to be informed of something like that? How does it benefit my life to know that some kid across the country was shot? What can I do about that? The ego also loves to feel disempowered. Should I be more informed so that I can spread negativity? Should I be more informed so that I can reiterate my generalized political platitudes I've told myself are the answers to all of these problems? Being informed about such topics does nothing for our lives as they are in this moment. This moment is all we have, and it was created by us. Knowing about all the atrocities in the world doesn't help me live a better life right now. After I read that comment, I just had it with Facebook. I decided I wasn't going to give over my time, energy, thoughts, and power to a service that makes it easy for people to put their negativity onto me. Facebook makes the spreading of this type of negative information super easy. Why would I spend my time there? Who benefits from me spending time on a website like that? Facebook would say that I benefit naturally. It depends on what you mean by benefit. I don't look at it like a benefit. I look at it like it's an easy way for negative ideas to proliferate unchecked. So I'm choosing not to participate on that account anymore. I'm setting up my own page, link below, where I'm going to share all the information, pictures, movies, and articles that I find interesting and empowering. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. My personal Facebook page is filled with old friends and old classmates that were my, quote, friends, but not my friends in real life. They represent an old, archaic life to me. I'm not the same person anymore. When I posted on my old Facebook account, since I have an extremely strange view of the world in relation to the average public opinion, I would share something particularly life-changing and either nobody would say a word about it or somebody would make a joke about it. I'm not interested in being a part of a community that doesn't understand what's really going on in the world. Facebook allows for people to project false ideas about their life. As I stated earlier, most people want their friends and family to think of them in a specific way. When you are hanging out with a friend or person, people can observe your behavior and come to their own conclusions about who they think you are, even though their opinions about who they think you are aren't even true. But when you are putting out information on Facebook, it's almost like you are the CEO of your own public relations department. Everything is very much controlled and calculated. You determine the words that are being used to describe whatever it is your post is about. You frame the sentences a certain way to make sure people perceive you exactly the way you want. You select the perfect photo that only shows your, quote, good side. If there's a photo of you and your husband, you'll make sure that your body looks perfect, even if it means your husband doesn't look that great. It's all just so fake. People typically post all the positive parts in their lives. They like to artificially inflate their lives so it looks fun, exciting, and most of all happy. But in actuality, that happy picture you posted of you and your husband in Hawaii doesn't show the arguments and distrust that's going on. It doesn't show the fact that your marriage is in desperate need of counseling because you're close to getting a divorce. But your friends and family look at that photo and think your marriage is awesome. Everything looks fine, in the photo at least. But looks are deceiving. While some people might be tricked into thinking that your marriage is great, others will see that photo and wish they were married and lived a happy life that you get to live. Facebook seems like a place where it makes it too easy to avoid being authentic, open, and honest about our personal lives. If you want to fall in love with a fake reality that your family and friends project, then be my guest. Join the Facebook world and have a gay old time. But if you're looking for a deep, meaningful truth being shared by an open-minded individuals who are conscious and awake, you probably won't find that on Facebook. You'll probably find that Facebook creates that kind of higher connection. Facebook makes it easy for the worst sides of people to interact. Imagine walking into the home of your wife's parents who are very conservative and proclaiming that you believe in gay rights. Or the next time you're having a conversation with your Christian friend, imagine telling them you believe in sex before marriage. If two people are friends in the real world and one of them is a Christian and the other is an atheist, but they agree to disagree, this kind of interaction would never really happen. They would value their friendship too much to fight over ideas like this. The Christian wouldn't say to the atheist, quote, "People like you are so simple-minded and are brainwashed by the media. I feel sorry for people who think like you." That kind of conversation wouldn't happen because of respect and the fact that if ideas like this were said in this way, you would have to defend them in person. Yet the next day, the atheist will go on Facebook and make fun of Christians. How do you think this guy's friend will feel? All of us disagree about things, but instead of being polite and nice around each other, Facebook gives us the opportunity to be a complete dick. With that said, the good parts about Facebook. For the duration of this article, I've talked about how much I don't like Facebook. But with that said, on one level of thinking of Facebook can only be a conduit for sending and receiving information. It depends who your friends are and who your immediate community is. If you have the right friends and your Facebook community resonates with your way of living, then it could be an okay thing. If Facebook is used to share inspiring, useful information that has the ability to change people's perspective, then I'm okay with that. But I'm still not a huge fan of Facebook. Right now, I look at it like a necessary evil. Until I decide to fully walk away, you can find me down below. Question: do you like Facebook? Would you ever consider deleting your account? Why or why not? Comment below and I'd love to hear your reasons. So if you'd like to read this article and check out the links contained within it, as well as the images and videos, you can go